And share. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Rook community meeting for September 9th. We'll start with our typical milestone checkup. I had a lot of meetings this morning, so I didn't update this agenda quite as much as I was hoping, but the let's see, we're already recording that meeting. Okay. 116.9 actually already happened. I need to put the link into that later. And yeah, been done since the last release, right? When was that? Let me just get the link real quick. 116.9. That was on August 15th. Okay, there we go. So that's all done. I think at this point, no more releases on the 1.16 branch plan. Since we have 117 and 118 out now, we'll focus on those two branches going forward. Okay, so since our last meeting, we did have a 1.17.8 release with these release notes. I don't know that there's anything in particular we need to call out, but it did have a number of fixes there. Any comments or questions around that, the 1.17 releases? Yep, okay. And 117.9, if we continue with our pattern of probably a couple more weeks. So since 1.18 is out, that's more of our cadence of biweekly, but 1-17, I go to a monthly cadence for a couple more releases. So I'll just put around that date tentatively. Yeah, I think that's a weekend. We can adjust the date later. And then 1.18, we're about to get the release out on August 20th with a patch release a week later. And also another patch release potentially today or tomorrow, trying to finalize a couple of fixes there. So we've got a few notes on that to discuss here. Oh, my screen is switching around. Is it still looking okay? Okay.
Yeah, for me, just fine.
All right. Just locally here. So what some of those things are, we've got the main updates really are for CSI operator. And there's a couple of categories, I would say, of bugs that we're looking into. So first of all, there are a few, and we knew CSI operator was a big change. So just to be fair, we are having so we need some updates. The CSI operator has a couple of fixes that we need from that project. So I'd say there's a couple of less common ones. So let me show the 118 board here. Let's talk through these. So working on NixOS is not working currently because of how volumes are mounted, and we cannot override the volumes. And so those on NixOS are currently blocked with CSI operator. Those using image pull secrets is another one we need. And those we cannot fix on the Rook side, at least, so we'll need that. Let's see, there's another category of these issues, which is we can fix on the Rook side. It's the Rook integration of CSI operator. So there are a couple of PRs that we just need to get merged. So working on Multis clusters, so that's in final review. And then a host network option for CSI operator, we'll pass that on. That's needs to be merged, I think. And so with that, we expect these Rook changes to be in our 18.2 release today or tomorrow when those are finalized. And then next week, we would need to get a new release out when CSI Operator has their release tagged with those fixes. So there's a lot going on with CSI Operator still. It feels stable, but with a few corner cases, or less common, I guess. It feels like we're still fixing. Any questions around CSI Operator? Comments, complaints? No, okay, we'll move on then. So then there's one other block we're finalizing and discussing with a few users as far as what we do with storage class updates in the Helm chart. Parth has a PR for that, and we're discussing merging that. Still pondering that because there's some debate on the right approach for that. But if anybody has Helm input there, that would be yeah, feedback is still welcome before we go ahead with that change. We might just go ahead with the PR Parth has. Parth and I were just discussing, and for the .2 release, and if it's still not, if we still need more debate, we can follow up in the .3 release with hopefully what would be a final answer if this is not the final answer. Yeah, let's see, is Parth? I don't see Parth here. Oh, there you are. Yeah, any other comments on that, Parth, or anyone else?
Yeah, that's right. Like we actually need a final answer as upstream users are using different platforms to deploy Helm, like Terraform or Argo CD. And which the issue is like these platforms doesn't have Helm functionality like lookup or hooks, and by which we cannot have a specific feature like for specific users. So in general, like we are trying to think like which will help these type of users and the users which are in general using Helm. So yeah, on conclusion, I would say currently we have removed the hooks and just using the lookups function so that we can make the storage class immutable. But as Travis mentioned, there is always room for improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, the basic, well, a few basic concerns. Having the storage class in the Helm chart is awkward in the first place because Helm updates things, but storage classes don't expect to be updated. And so there's, anyway, it's kind of a conflicting design point between those that makes it tricky. And having the storage class in the Helm chart probably wasn't the best decision in the first place anyway, but that's where we are. Okay. If no more comments about those issues, it's the same notes here on Ceph releases as last time. So the 20.1.0 Tentacle RC still have not seen that out. I was just checking the Ceph Slack and they're still working through some final release issues. So we'll see that when we see it. And I guess we already talked about last month. 19.2.3 is the default now in Rook, at least. And that'll stay the same for the Rook 117 branch, but with 1.18, hoping we can make Tentacle the release, the default release, if it's released before we get, 1.19 out in the December timeframe. But okay. Well, that's a quick run through of all the notes that I've got in the agenda here. I'll open up for other topics. Are there other topics anybody'd like to bring up?
Travis, since you mentioned the Tentacle release, I don't know exactly remember when, but recently we were discussing what's going to be the code name for the next set release, like the U release. And in fact, it's going to be Urchin, as I got the confirmation from Rea Hoja. So,
Yeah, Urchin.
and there's always a process where there's some kind of a document or pad initially. People can make suggestions and basically vote or something. Urchin it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I missed that thread when they were voting for it, but urchin makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense. So
It does, yeah. I was also tempted to suggest umami.
umami.
Yes, this additional taste flavor to or flavor to a sour, sweet, salty, and whatever. Because I think developers are an example of this flavor thing, which was always very abstract to me. But okay, it's just a bad joke anyway. Urgent it is, which also seems very appropriate to some topic related to the sea.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just wanted to mention that I got confirmation about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds good. And I did not add it to the agenda, but I think we mentioned last month for Cephalocon, there were a couple of Rook talks accepted. Yeah, Josh, you're lucky enough to present one of those, and we'll see you there. I'll plan on being there. And let's see, the other one was from, I think, Dimitri, who's not on this call. We'll look forward to those. Okay. Artem, Deepika, anything from Kaiso side to bring up?
Not from me.
No, not at the moment.
Mhm. Okay. Well, maybe we'll give most of the hour back, if that's all. Thanks, everyone. And talk to you later in Slack or next community meeting.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks. See you.
Cheers.